This video will cover point-slope form for linear equations. So if you Google point-slope form, the internet tells you that it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. But we do not want to use that form. We do a simple thing here where we take that minus y to the first. If you just went plus y to the first plus y to the first, that's how you get to what we do. So for us, point-slope form is y equals m times x minus x1 plus y1. Now, m, you already know. M is simply your slope. And then the point that this line goes through would be x1, y1. That doesn't look good. There, I don't even know if I made it better. It's a comma in between the x1, y1. So that is point-slope form, and it is actually the most important form of an equation that we learn in Math 2. Because what happens is later on in the year, we'll use this same type of form to make graphs that look like this and graphs that look like that. And it'll match up with this same form. Let's go ahead and take a look at two examples here. So we have y equals 2/3 times x minus 5 in parentheses plus 1. So our slope is simply 2/3. And then our point that this line passes through, since it says x minus 5, our x1 value is 5, and our y value is 1. All right. Second one, y minus equals -4 times x plus 3 minus 2. Our slope is -4, but instead of having x minus x1, we have x plus 3. But this is the same thing as x minus -3. So if we want to keep it in the form x minus x1, notice in the second example, the x value of our point is not +3, it is -3. And then our y value is -2. So the key phrase here that we use throughout the year to help us remind us of how to get the point is whatever's in the parentheses, you use the opposite sign for your x value. Whatever's on the end, that is your y value. So take your hands, form some parentheses, say it with me, opposite, opposite. So when you see x minus 5, you're going to use the opposite of that, +5. When you see x plus 3, you're going to use the opposite of that and use -3. Let's take a look at why point-slope form is such a great way to graph lines. So our first equation here, we know our slope is 2/3 and our point is 5, 1. So to graph this, I would go to the point 5, 1, and that is my starting point. Kind of like when you do y equals mx plus b, you always start on the y-intercept. Point-slope form allows you to start at any point you want. So here we're going to start at 5, 1, and we have a slope of 2/3. So we're going up or down, then to the right. So we go up 2, right 3, and with those 2 points, I could make my line. Now I'll go ahead and go backwards to get some more. So from my starting point, I can go down to left 3, get a point there, do that again, and you could do it as many times as you want. I think that's enough. And then you can just connect the points, and there is our line. Let's take a look at the next one. This time, our starting point is -3, -2. There's our starting point. Wait, that's not our starting point. I didn't count to 3. Here we go. -3, -2. There's our starting point. And this time, our slope is -4, or -4/1. So you go down 4, right 1. Remember, it's up or down, then to the right. And then if I want to go the other direction, I can go up 4 and left 1. Maybe do that one more time. And then draw a line connecting these. So notice in this second line that I can't see my y-intercept, but I was still able to graph it. Notice in the first line, my y-intercept, right around there, it's not a whole point. So it would not have been easy to write that in y equals mx plus b form. We'd have a fraction. Let's try working in the other direction. What if you have the graph and you want to write the equation? So here's a graph, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 good points on it that we can see. You can actually write your equation off any of these points. So let's just choose one. Let's choose that point right there, which is -5, +5. So that's the point -5, +5. And my slope, I'm going down 3 over 4. Down 3 over 4. So my slope is -3/4. And the point I go through is -5, 5. So to write my equation, I have y equals, I write my slope, and then I think opposite. My x value is -5, so the opposite of -5 is +5, and then my y value on that point is 5. Now, one thing that's nice about point slope formula is you can use any point you want. What if instead of using -5, 5, I want to go off that point? That point is 3, -1. So now my equation becomes same slope, y equals -3/4. Now I have an x value of 3, so I think opposite. Opposite of +3 is -3, and the y value of -1, I keep that. So we always just change the x value. So those two equations, those are equivalent equations. Both of those equations describe that green line. So there you have it. You should now recognize when you see point slope form. You should be able to use point slope form to graph a line. And when you're given a line, you should be able to work backwards and write the equation in point slope form.